Okay. Okay, great. So I'm here with Ken Tang and Andy Tay of Cornerstone Marketing Concepts. Ken is the founder and CEO of Cornerstone, and his cousin Andy is vice president of sales. Welcome.
It's good to be here, Don.
Thanks, Ken. Ken and Andy grew CMC Marketing into the largest commercial sales force for Directv in just 4 short years. So Ken, can you tell us a little bit about that journey and how you did that?
Yes, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
You know, Andy and I, along with my wife, started just the three of us in the pursuit just to have more control and have an opportunity to provide jobs for our friends and family. And you know, we got tired of jumping from one company to the next. We were good at creating sales force, and then we work for a variety of companies that are subsidiary of these companies. They same model where they train and develop sales reps, and they market phone and internet and TV to the consumers, residential and commercial. But what I found is they lack business skills and sometimes integrity, and every few years you have to restart and move to another company and so forth. So with the support and belief of Andy, my wife, we decided to just do it.
Now tell us a little bit about the size of the organization today and what markets you serve, and then specifically what CMC does.
So we grew from the three of us to now collectively from employee to subcontractors, about 20 people. We're in 5 different states.
Mm-hmm.
We have teams that are I guess mobile. We travel a lot. Our sales force and our technicians travels to different markets and generate sales on behalf of AT&T and DirecTV.
Okay, good. And Andy, you're a vice president of sales for CMC Marketing. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're looking for in a sales rep, and then what the day in the life of a sales rep, of a successful sales rep is? Maybe a little bit about how much money they can make. Tell us a little bit about what that guy looks like.
Okay. Yeah, we're open to anybody that's willing to pretty much learn sales. You know, we call it PhDs, right? We're looking for people that have a PhD, poor, hungry, and determined.
Perfect.
Yes, and you know, go figure. We're looking for people who are ambitious, that need money, and someone that wants to pretty much try sales out. And how the opportunity was presented to me was similar to how we presented to a new person coming in to Cornerstone.
And how many people do you hire right now on a weekly basis?
Yeah, so on average we hire about 4 to 5.
4 or 5 a week?
A week.
Wow.
But our retention is about 2 to 3.
Okay.
Yes. So
and so tell us what happens when you hire these guys. You train them, and how soon until they're out in the field working?
Right. So after orientation, once they get hired, they do about a 3 days training, and once that 3 days is over, they're pretty much out in the field with their trainer until they're competent enough to go out on their own.
And how define competent on their own? Define what you mean by that.
Yes, competent in terms of product knowledge, in terms of how to approach the customers, how to pretty much process the order.
Okay.
Yeah, so that takes about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at the end of 2 weeks, or at the end of a month or so, how much money can a new rep make for you guys, with you guys?
That's a secret, Don. No, seriously. It's really up to them, but on average, our guys make about 700 to about 800 a week, and that's conservative. They're working the hours that we work. Yes.
Okay,
so.
That's great. And what do they have to do for that? I mean, so they're knocking on the door of what kind of company? They walk in, they talk to who about what?
Yes. So they go business to business. They do small to medium-sized businesses like, you know, nail salon, donut shops, smock shops, mechanics, and we're targeting customers who are too busy to actually call in for new services that we offer. And the approach is simple. We ask them how their service is, and we see if we can beat their price.
That's great. And what would you say, Andy, is the makeup of the ideal of the sales rep that would be the most successful? What kind of qualities do you look for in that kind of guy?
Anyone with a student mentality and someone that's willing to learn, because we do auto training. As long as you're willing to learn and absorb everything we offer, we can groom somebody to be successful.
That's fantastic. And what about in the organization after a few years? Can they then become a trainer? Can they get their own team? What does that look like?
That's a great question. So we're not only grooming sales reps, the goal is for them to become future partners. When I mean future partners, I mean they're now able to go on road trips to different states and actually open up a new market.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're in California, we're in Texas and Ohio, some parts in Florida. The goal is to be in all states.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, to become future partners so we can actually grow and expand to different markets.
That's great.
Sense.
That's great, Andy. And what would, if someone's listening to this broadcast right now and they're trying to decide whether to work for CMC Marketing or to work for a competitor or some other direct sales force company,
Yeah.
why you guys? What's your, why would someone want to work for you?
Yes, so we value relationship more than anything. Ken brought me on and I'm his cousin, but the way he brought me on and he treated me was totally different than how I saw people treat me when I was younger. And I saw that in our CEO, so once I saw that in him, we created a culture where we want to build relationship with strangers, you know, the friends that we have currently, and even our family. So even though this is work, we have a strong bond within each other.
Great.
So when challenges arise, like, you know, life happens, right?
Right.
We have each other's back.
So you watch out for each other, and it's really more, may I say, a family type situation than environment.
Yeah,
You've
you can
been-
ask our employees, and I'm sure they'll say the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Kim, let me ask you a question now, if you don't mind, a little bit about being the business owner and the founder and CEO. For starting with the company, you were doing everything, I imagine. You, Andy, and your wife. You washed the dishes, you swept floors, you did everything, I imagine, like all business owners do at that early age. How has your role changed in the last 4 years at such tremendous growth, doubling sales every year? What's your role like now? How do you see yourself as a leader?
You know, that's a great question. My role did change, and I think if I was to talk to entrepreneurs, all the entrepreneurs out there, the biggest advice I can give you is do whatever it takes, whatever your business requires at the time, right? So it's luckily with the help of Don and the Visage Group, I was able to move from being the CEO that did everything from you're right, I took out the trash.
Yeah.
You know,
We all do early
I
on.
was cutting the lawn. I was the technician. You know, I went and shadowed some technicians. I sold, but what happened there was, you have to be able to grow with the company, grow with your business, and not be stuck doing everything, right? So one of my challenge, and I would have probably stuck there and be tunnel vision and just doing all the work had it not been for groups like Visage and my personal development and understanding that there's time and place for everything. In the beginning, I had to do everything, but once we hit a certain level of I guess let me backtrack. So it's good to know and be able to be willing to do everything, but it is important for a business owner to understand that you don't have to, and that you have to empower people in different functions, or you become a slave to your business like my parents did.
Interesting.
Right. So what my now, so I started off doing everything and stressed the heck out. I know everything about my business. I know how to sell. I know how to install. I know how to call and verify a customer. I know everything, to being comfortable not to know everything, but empower people that knows each department of my business. And until I was able to do that, I was I guess confined, or putting myself in a position where I wouldn't be able to grow, or would kill myself trying to grow
Right.
the business in that model.
Right.
Yeah.
And I imagine you had a great success with some of the early employees you had and people that you knew. Tell us a little bit about that first core group that took you from you, Andy, and your wife to then 5 people, 10 people, 20, now 120. I mean, how did you find, hire, recruit, and train the people so that you could be the leader that you needed to be?
That's great. That's a great question. Actually, one of the book that helped with that helped with that was a book I read early called 8 Habits of Highly Successful People
It's a great book.
by Stephen Covey's son,
Mhm.
which is Stephen Covey as well.
Yeah.
And that book talks about the speed of trust, you know, and that's the one thing I took from that book. Well, it's only the one message, but this whole book about how trust, speed of business, how trust is the most important. And what I took away from that book is, okay, so I'm trust and I can't afford to pay people with talents yet. It's a startup, right? So then what I did was I started to look for people I trust from friends, family, new employees, people I brought on. The quality I look for is people that are honest, people that are hardworking, and people have a desire, an ambition that unmatched to the normal people that I talk to. I'm talking people almost. So most people think they're crazy, right? They're barely making $15, but they want to own an island type of thing, right?
Right.
Because that's the foundation I need. I need to trust them, and I need them to have ambition, so that way when the company grow, there will be place for them along the way, and that's exactly what happened. So Andy, you know, was my cousin. We started working together since he was 17. You know, 6 years later, and now he's a partner.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for someone like that.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And then I started to seek out different qualities in people that can fulfill different functions of my company. For example, a tech.
Mm-hmm.
My brother is now our tech manager. I have a good friend that became my back office support. Right, they have the same quality. Somebody I can trust. Somebody have my back, and somebody have crazy amount of ambitions beyond what they're at right now.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
And then I am motivated by, I'm a teacher at heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it wasn't for the money, I'll be a teacher.
Mm.
Okay, that was because I love teaching and grooming people. So I don't mind the effort it takes to develop skills and invest time and things like that. That's my why, my mission in life.
So your mission in life is to help people grow and become better people. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Right. So my goal in life is to first be a strong cornerstone. A cornerstone, you know, it is just a foundation, a pillar, an example for those around you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that can, you know, my dad in our language called masal trungtea, which is the foundations that hold a house together.
Mm. Mm.
You know, so at first you must be that,
Mm-hmm.
and then I seek out to find people that has the same desire,
Mm-hmm.
but they may be different. Andy's always been talented and always been charismatic. He's that popular kid that I hate in high school.
We all know somebody like Andy.
Right, and I'm the nerd, right?
Right.
That like people watch and creep people out. You know, so I know he'll be talented at sales, because when I first approached him to pass out flyers in car windows, and that we were doing a residential campaign at the time with Time Warner, I was surprised the amount of people that comes up to him and start asking him about the product, and that don't happen, right?
Yeah.
So I realized he has a talent. So, you know, he don't know it at the time, but it was always a plan that I think I can work with this. He has the skill that I don't have. He loves to be in front of people. He's very charismatic. We go to gyms and work out, and he have 2-3 people every single day approach him. And I'm like, how do you know this many people? You're 17.
It still happens.
And it still happens, right? There's more people, right? So he's always been that person, and so I find people that have the same desire and same core people I trust, but different qualities.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
right.
with Paul, he has that, but he's very technical,
Mm-hmm.
which he became the first employee we hired,
Mm-hmm.
that became now the back office manager.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he started making 13. Now he's at 75K,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and probably gonna crush 6 figures this year.
Right.
So I know that answered your question.
It did. It was great. I want to go into one thing you mentioned, and that was your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about their journey. They were from Cambodia, and they came here. Tell our audience a little about how what that was like as a kid, watching them, what they did for you, what you saw them doing that makes you the kind of entrepreneur you are today.
You know, my parents are the best example and has a lot of influence, both positive and negative influence on my life, you know. And let's talk about the positive.
Okay.
You know, my parents are the most hardworking people that I know.
Mhm.
You know, they saved up. I don't know how they were to do it. They have 4 kids. Didn't speak but a few words of English. Was able in a matter of 10 years to save up 10,000 to start a business.
Mm.
And we had a small restaurant growing up that served to the Cambodian community and Vietnamese community. It's similar to a Lee Sandwich.
Mhm.
Before Lee Sandwich became the chain and recognized brand that they are.
Right.
We were before them even. Well, at least I thought. I don't know about Lee until until after my parents sold the business. But they were a great example of work ethic and what you can manifest if you desire it. They were the best example of that.
Mm.
You know, they did whatever it takes, from fleeing Cambodia, traveling a week on foot, leaving Cambodia to Thailand so that we actually can be deported or
Immigrated into the country.
immigrated to the country, because you couldn't immigrate from Cambodia because of the communist
Oh, right.
party at the time that was
What year was that?
restricting,
Around
85,
mid-80s.
85, yeah,
Mid-80s.
mid 80s,
So
right?
fleeing the Khmer Rouge that was going on there and the genocide.
Right,
Right.
right. So they had to sneak out of the country, and
Wow.
if they were to be caught, they would have been killed instant,
Wow.
right? And
Wow.
they had to travel with a tour guide that they paid, trust a guy that they don't know, walk through landmines, swamps, leeches. They have stories that seems like something you've seen in the movies,
Just
right?
incredible.
But they lived it, right?
Sure.
So then they tell me this, and my mom, again, she's the best salesperson I know. So she did a pretty good job,
Yeah.
a pretty good job convincing me that there is no excuse why you can't be better.
Right, right.
Like, this is what we did for you.
What they did, that's very good, very well said. This is what they did for you. And so now you, as a young adult now, or as an adult, knowing that and growing up with that, how does that make you into the person you are? Well, how did that affect you and make you what drives you?
Right. So the first thing is, do whatever it takes. The example they had, the work ethic, was a good example. My dad worked 7 to 7 at the shop. That's already 12 hours.
Mhm.
But then after the shop, he'll go to Santa Ana and look for deals so that he can sell at the shop.
Mhm.
So it's probably another few hours. The funny thing about my parents is they do not equate time to money.
Mm.
To them, as long as they earn the money, it's all good. Doesn't matter how long, how much, how many people's involved in making that money. So what it taught me there was do whatever it takes. And they taught me entrepreneurship in the sense that, you know, the average American look at their time versus money.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
how much am I making? And then, I mean, it's logical, but business owners shouldn't think like that.
Mhm.
Business owners should think revenue and do whatever it takes to get it, and then go from there. And that's what I learned from them, along with the work ethic
That's great.
that, you know, helped me persevere through many challenges of my life. Because if you're dumb, slow, unskilled, just work harder.
Right. Just work harder.
Work harder, you learn faster.
Right, right.
And then you outbeat the competitor.
So as a young kid, you are watching your parents work 14 hours a day and just making by a living like that. Did you say to yourself, yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur just like that? Or did you say to yourself, heck no, I want to go work for corporate America
Yes,
and
of
forget
course.
all
Of
that?
course I want to work the 14 hours, right? No, I ran away from that. I told my mom and parents, and they actually agreed. They don't want me to do the 14 hours they did. They did that for us because they feel like they didn't have another choice.
Mhm.
Because if they were working for corporate America or any company with their skill set, they would earn minimum wage, at best a few dollars more.
Mhm.
So that was their only pursuit of happiness. And if it's true, you know, I'm blessed with much more opportunity because they brought me here, right?
Right.
Educated, college, and they did a tremendous job doing whatever it takes to make sure I have a better opportunity than them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So with that being said, I'm sorry, what's the question?
So well, no,
I lost
that's all right.
my thought.
But now, Ken, you are now in a position of you've hired quite a few family and friends from the Cambodian community, and now others, of course, as you grow forward. What is it about as you look at the future in your life with where you've come from, where your parents have come from? What do you feel like giving back now, or do you? Or tell me a little bit about that aspect.
Yeah, you know, hearing the story that my parents went through, and you know, being Cambodian, being raised in Long Beach at the time, with all the danger with drive-by and things like that, I feel for our people, the Cambodian community. I identify myself with American. I'm American, but my root is Cambodian, and there's still a lot to be done there. One of the things that I must do is be a good example and be, role model is cliche, but I just want to show that it's possible.
Right.
That there should be no excuse for whatever reason for you not to be successful here.
Right.
And in the near future, go to Cambodia and actually affect my country by providing jobs. My goal is to create 1,000 jobs in Cambodia.
That's a great goal.
So in the meantime, what I'm doing is growing myself to be a better business person, developing my skills, working with, Andy, obviously he's Cambodian, my cousin, and anybody that wants opportunities, not just Cambodian, it's just that's who I know, that's who I trust.
Right.
So that's who I start with.
So it's really capitalism solving poverty. I mean, it's bringing people along by being capitalistic like you are and entrepreneurial like you are, and raising up those who want to do the hard work.
Yes.
Do the hard work like you're doing.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Exactly.
That's great. That's great. As you look to the future of Cornerstone, where do you see the path now? I mean, you've doubled the last 4 years. You're the national sales team for Directv, the best out there. Where is it going to be in 2 years or 5 years from now?
Our opportunity look very bright. My focus this year is to create better habits and affect personal change in my core leadership. What I mean by that is we have succeeded in affecting financial change. We have sales reps, dealing with business owners that make 6 figures.
Great.
So Andy's being modest with the 7 to 800, and it's true in the first month.
Mm-hmm.
But we have reps that just does sales, and they're breaking 3,000 a week.
Wow.
Consistently. Partners, when you can develop team, have the leadership to multiply yourself by training and developing others, and have the drive to start up a new market and take entrepreneurship seriously and be our partner. My main business partner now that have the biggest team, we make 10,000 a week.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of freaking money. So I've never been even close to that working with other companies. So I truly, me and Andy set out to create an opportunity that's not just talk, and I don't want to come across like we're better than everybody else, but we truly value relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed in bigger companies or even smaller companies that's in sales is it's a lot of dangling the carrot in front of the donkey's face, and the carrot keep getting longer and longer.
Right.
You can never really, the donkey never get the carrot.
Donkey never gets the carrot, yeah.
Right. I sometimes tweak the number so they get the carrot.
Yeah. You want to have a fat, happy donkey.
I want to have a fat, and I love it, and I truly want to create friendships and provide opportunity for them to be cornerstones for those around them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we succeeded in financially, but what I found recently is that personally, I also want to affect that change, and it's we've kind of figured out strategizing how we do that without infringing on, when is the line and things like that. But just want to be focused on being good people.
Yep.
I think a good leader is just simply a good person.
A good person.
That's all it is. So I think leadership is being used so much that in sales, if used correctly, it's almost like manipulation. Because a good leader can influence. So you can call that manipulation or influence, but we have the ability to do so.
Right.
And it scares a lot of people. Good salespeople scares people because of that.
Yeah.
And what I found is that we've been doing a good job creating the skill and developing their skills, but now they almost have a responsibility. Not almost. They have a responsibility now to do the right thing with the skills that is taught to them. Giving back, being generous, kind, look out for others just like we look out for them. And I want to be more of a spokesperson and be more almost, preach that message so that we could create long-lasting foundation. To your point, 2 years from now, I want strong cornerstones that affect positive change in people's around us and the lives around them.
That's great. That's a wonderful vision and ambition. That's good. Andy, I want to ask you a minute about Ken. So you have been your Ken's cousin, so you've seen him as a little kid growing up. all the journeys that he's taken, and then starting Cornerstone and working with him at the beginning, and now 4 years later, where Ken is right now, running a very successful, thriving organization.
Right.
How has, in your view, how has he changed as a person and as a leader, and as he became a leader? Without kissing butt too much to Ken right here,
Yeah.
can you be honest with us and tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, just through our journey together, he's grown tremendously from, being single to being married to having kids to being a father, and when our relationship finally got back together, I've always looked at Ken as a mentor, as a leader, right? A good person, just truly amazing. I know he's here right now. I'm tooting his horn a little bit, but
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
but seriously, like he's grown tremendously. Even when I felt like we weren't growing, he would buy seminars and go to the Tony Robbins seminar with me, and it's really just try to learn and be a student again. And that just shows me that our leader, our CEO, is still growing, and he's grown personally, he's grown financially, and overall his goal is to create Cornerstone. So if he's not the one growing, then who will be leading the team?
So it's fair to say that Ken's setting the example for the Cornerstone and building other Cornerstones within your organization.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's wonderful. Good, thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
Ken, is there anything else that you would like to tell either the entrepreneurs who are listening, or the wannabe entrepreneurs or business owners that are out there, about your journey, about some of the struggles, the challenges, and then how you've overcome them?
Yes. Number one advice would be, it seems like a far journey. Take step by step. What I mean by that is, I have very big goals. I always have very big goals when I was a child, and then when I tell people that, I always get ridiculed, laughed at, and recently it hasn't been so much. Now I say stuff, they're like, okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
But I always wanted, for example, I always said I wanted an island, and at the time I was broke, bad credit, make some poor decisions and things like that. Didn't have people skills, and I've watched a YouTube video on law of attraction, and then that started to manifest and give me comfort in the fact that you start with a desire. I think Don just mentioned that, when you were a child, you saw your uncle have a house here in Belmont Shore next to the water, and you're like, I want that, and I'm gonna get that one day, and you're here. I think that's all success is that you hit your goal. I think for the new entrepreneur, or just people that desire greatness, maybe a good relationship or something, that you thrive for, is don't lose faith in that, and surround yourself with people. And that's really my secret to success. It's really not a secret. I have good people around me. One of my biggest decisions I ever made was cherish relationship, and do whatever it takes to fight for the people that are good people in my life. And then I was just blessed with an opportunity with this business, and all I did was ask them to come join me.
Yeah, and you're taking care of them.
Right, from my Salesforce to my cousin to my friend. And it's amazing. It's amazing in the sense that I'm able to make money and I'm hanging out with people I love to hang out with.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like you think about going to work, you're like, oh, I don't want to deal with that person. I love work. I love work so much. My wife is jealous. She don't think I'm gonna cheat on her, but if I'm working too long, why are you working so hard? Like, what are you doing? And she we have a Lexus that I found have a GPS system in it, right? So she knows exactly where I'm at. She's like, why is this so long? Why is it, and it's work. It's still work.
It's
work,
work,
I
but
work
you
with my
love what
friends
you're
and family. And so
Yeah.
it's like, the conversation go a little long. We had too much fun than we should, maybe.
That's great. That's great.
But it's a challenge.
Yeah. How do you, speaking of your wife, how do you balance work and family? You have two kids now and a wife, and you have obligations that are pulling you in all these directions. And many entrepreneurs, many of them that we know together, Ken, have that same challenge of balancing work and family and social obligations and charity. How do you do that?
You know, it's funny. I actually joined Vistage because of that.
Why is that?
Because I couldn't find a balance. Now, this is 2 years now.
Yeah.
We're approaching 2 years with the Vistage group. You know, Don is our chair. And one of the first breakthrough I had was in the first meeting was I found that I was a slave to my business. You know, I think I was broke down and shed tears because, you know, I remember sharing the story that I was on a cruise for 3 days and I couldn't stop working. You know, and this was a promise I made to my wife that it's going to be our family time. I took my parents and her parents, treat them, and I wasn't even present, you know, because I was still working. You know, they should start take away internet at the cruise. You know? You know, because it's teasing you. It has slow enough internet to work, but not good enough for you to get much things done. So I'm like constantly paranoid and trying to have fun, you know, trying to balance that. So
how have you changed?
I've changed in the sense that, you know, we work and we pursued making financial gains and things like that to better the lives of our soul and the people we love. But somewhere along the line, including my parents, we got trapped into just working, and then now we are not spending time with those we love. So we seek out, we got the money, then we don't have the time. So one of the things I always said as a kid is that I'm not going to be my parents. Great example in business. Great example as a parent, a ton of love, but I don't see them. Till today, I love my dad to death. He's my superhero. You know, the guy's invincible. At least that's how I feel when I look up to him as a kid, even now, right? But I can't have more than 3 sentence conversation with the man. If I go to the house, it'll be like, "You eat yet? Good. House great, awesome. Bye, son."
Wow.
You know, and recently I've been working harder in building a relationship, spending time with him and things like that. So he would share with me different stories and things, and I'm like surprised by who my dad is. He would tell me stories about how he cut school to go to a dojo and learn how to be a black belt and things like that. I'm like, this is my dad? I didn't know this. And this is now what? I'm 38 before I start to know who my dad is.
Wow. Because he wasn't there.
Because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because he's always doing whatever it takes to provide food for the family and so forth. So I say all that to say it is important to me to make sure I have that balanced life, to spend time with my kids and so forth.
With your kids.
Right.
So you're not like that.
Right. So now what I do is, and this is the breakthrough, is that to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be a great leader and a great developer of people. You have to be able to find the right people for you to support your business.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, then you'll be a slave to your business like my parents were. They did everything. And on top of that, they brought us in there, all 4 kids.
Yeah.
After school, we're working at the shop. So it was horrible. I had to take extra credit and go to all kind of things just to make sure I'm not at the shop. You know? Justifying why I can't
You were
come
slaves to your parents.
Exactly, you know, and I feel bad about it. I really did, and I had like you know, such and now I feel like I can pay back. You know, we do a lot of family trips together, and I would have the ability now to pay for the trips and not having stress about money, because that's one of the things I hate. If they were able to do the trip, it's gonna be miserable, because my parents would make us aware of how what's the word I'm looking for? It's like they feel we can't enjoy the trip because they'll bring up the money and how they left the business for us and so forth. You know, it's almost, and they don't do it intentionally, but
It's just naturally.
It was just natural, you know. So it wasn't even a vacation. Wasn't even a vacation. It was more like a lecture.
Stressful. Yeah, lecture.
I'm like, oh man, I'd rather not have the vacation. You know.
Yeah.
You know, so I've learned to be a better delegator. And Richard Branson is one of my business idol, the owner of Virgin Record. He talks about that in a few of his talks, and some of the things and articles I read about him, how he believed in empowering people, giving people flexibility and all that. So I adapt that in my lives.
That's great.
And learn to be a better leader of developing someone like Andy to take ownership in sales, develop Paul, my friend and now back office manager, to have the ability to make decisions for himself and so forth. So then I free myself to spend time with my family.
It's wonderful.
You know, so my wife always, she's ambitious in the sense of she want my time. You know?
Yeah, of course.
So she's my balance, right? So
Right.
To me, I think I give 10, 20, maybe even 100 more time my parents did, so I'm good. But to her, her standard is much higher. I think that's why I married her, because she was raised quite different from me.
Yeah.
They have family dinner together, or family talk, and actually communicate with each other.
Those things
they
that you
share
want,
stories,
and
the
then
things that I want, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At the same time, she wanted me, my ambition,
Mm-hmm.
and what you know, we're financially off better. My family is financially better than hers, but she had the quality of relationship that I
Right.
want. So
Right.
I think merging the two desire caused me to fight for not only the financial stability, but also the quality of time and freedom
That's great.
to create the memories that I would like to have as a kid.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, great. Well, Ken and Andy, thank you so much for sharing your company story with us. I think it's very inspirational and very educational, and you've been great guests to have on the show. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John.